News' Natalie Migliori reports.
Before walking into the Manhattan courtroom, Trump blasted James, saying the trial could have been brought years ago, but they waited until he announced a run for re-election.
They're all corrupt people. Frankly, our country is corrupt. And that's one of the reasons I'm running. We're going to straighten it out.
James confident about the case.
The law is both powerful and fragile. And today in court, we will prove our case.
Last week, the judge overseeing the case ruled that Trump had been overvaluing his properties and is liable for fraud. The trial is set to determine remaining accusations.
President Biden is glad a government shutdown was averted, but he says it shouldn't have come down to the wire. The president accused what he referred to as extreme MAGA Republicans of trying to walk away from the deal. Student loan holders need to start making payments again this week. Brad Ford has more.
Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson's joining 19 other attorneys general in asking the Biden administration to increase protections for borrowers. Payments have been paused for 3.5 years during the pandemic. Millions of loans have been assigned to other loan servicing companies. Borrowers report extreme delays in reaching customer service.
The jackpot for the Powerball lottery drawing is now up over $1 billion. Only 3 other Powerball jackpots have been higher than the current estimated $1.04 billion pre-tax payout. The next drawing is tonight, with a cash option takeaway of just over $478 million. Taylor Swift showed up in New Jersey Sunday with quite the entourage to watch Travis Kelce in Kansas City beat the Jets. The pop star was spotted at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford cheering for the Chiefs tight end with Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and Sophie Turner by her side. Last week, the Shake It Off singer was with Travis Kelce's mom cheering on her rumored new beau. Kansas City won both games, edging the New York Jets 23-20. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
The first thing you're going to have to learn is that until you stop expecting our politicians or anyone else to change your life isn't going to change. The only person going to change your life is you, but you need to know how.
Want to learn how? Meet Del Wamsley's Lifestyles Unlimited team and get your map to retirement in 5 years or less. Saturday and Sunday, October 21st and 22nd, Hyatt Centric Mountain View. Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. That's GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Limited seating, unlimited potential. Register now at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
No, it's Super Roth!
Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually. Tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
Life tires, balance, and their critical thinking, or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else, right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
You are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Mercer's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be
But
the
I
answer.
surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. But I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so
Okay,
I can
okay, come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KZAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, T-Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and many more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip on this show, no scandal, no K-words, no Kanye, formerly known as or now talk, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests and series and more. 596 consecutive weeks now I've been on the air, over 11 and a half years. This is show number 1031. I think I was doing this before they even came up with the word podcast, if I'm dating myself, but I am dating myself. But actually, I am ageless. Y'all know that. But definitely those stats make me feel like, it's been a little while. And I'm so grateful that I get to have a cashew gallery thanks to my live love stream from wherever I am. I'm in Canada right now, flying back tomorrow here with my mom. Just threw a 89th birthday party for her yesterday, so that was lovely. And Orville is turning in. And Maria's here from Colorado. Orville he shuttles back and forth from New York, where I met him at the Carnegie Hall. He brought me over to cover the Bob Proctor Lifetime Achievement Award and is just a wonderful long-term friend. Maria is a new friend who Orville brought in, and I'm just really grateful. Let's see. Well, I thought I heard Marissa Tomei. Haha. Let's see. What else are you saying? You should partner with Tomei. All right. I will pay Tomei. Okay. We've got an active cashew gallery this morning, and I'm so glad that you're here. It is Mental Health Monday. So mental health matters on Monday. And I thought I would actually foray into what I have my PhD in, which is piled higher and deeper. I'm an organizational psychologist, and a lot of people have been messaging me and asking me about work-related mental health matters, like I hate my job, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere, it's a dead end, I live for my weekends. I came in and I thought this was a great place to work, and now it's like, anytime I make a suggestion, I'm told to just do what I tell you to do and don't think. I mean, obviously that's an extreme, but that flavor or that culture of the organization. And I am really grateful that for 33 years now, I've gotten to work with Fortune 100 companies all over the world. And in fact, I was in Brussels for 2 years working for Exxon Chemical, AT&T. That's where I started teaching graduate school at the Boston University school that's in Brussels. And Dr. Salen, thank you for getting me started in that. Then came back and taught 6 years at UCLA in the MBA school and got to teach a lot of the things that I'm going to cover today as an organizational psychologist in addition to practice. Because the days where they used to say, keep your professional and personal life separate, right? Come to work professional, leave your personal stuff at home, don't talk about it, just do what you're told. That's the X theory, X way of organizations for many, many years. Then people figured out you can't do that. We're not split personalities, we are one whole person. And if you're worried or afraid or anxious at home, you're most likely going to come with that to work and it's going to affect your work. At the same time, if you're not treated well or you feel disrespected at work, you're going to come home and take it out on the dog or your family. And so we have to be real about the way that we show up and also problem solve in the workplace. And because my field is a cross between psychology and business, so human dynamics at work, power, politics, miscommunication, conflict, all of those things do happen at work. There's one organization where there is no power, no politics. Do you want to know where you want to go work? The cemetery, because where there are no people, there are no problems. We humans are kind of funny that way. We're not perfect. And yet, when we bring in that dis-ease of perfectionism to work or home or, getting along, not getting along, all of that impacts how work gets done or not done. So that's the topic for today. And I hope that if you're listening and you're in a specific, what brought this up is I was asked, how do I ask for a raise? And so in helping coach with that, I realized, this is a good topic for Monday because it is about mental health. It is about how you feel about yourself. It is about the culture and of respect or lack of respect at work. So if you're a leader, a manager, an employee, this one's for you. So this is a special LinkedIn that I stream to, hopefully, yeah, it's up there, that I'm reaching out to business people. So feel free to share this. Please do comment and ask questions in my cashew gallery on the side of the comments, unless you're driving. Because if you're listening to my AM 1050 FM 106.5 NBC News Radio KCAA, please do not type. Wait till you get to wherever you're going. All right. And as usual, we're going to start with Breakfast with Dr. Marissa. This is a discipline that I wanted you to use to exercise your muscle of gratitude, things out. What do you appreciate outside of yourself? And then appreciation for yourself. Because there's too many people waking up doing MS, meaningless scrolling. And then if you were in a pretty neutral mood after scrolling a bit and getting involved in some text wars or some comment wars, you're now in a bad mood. So I want you instead to start your day with 8 specific things that you are grateful for. And I'm going to start. I'm grateful for my sound engineer, that wherever I travel, he gets to help support this broadcast. That is Frank. And Frank can also help if you'd like with the gratitudes this morning. Maria and PJ, I expect you to also help with this, have breakfast with me this morning. All right. So that was my first gratitude. Go ahead and type in as I am continuing with my gratitudes. I'm grateful that the party with my 89-year young Chinese mom was a success with her friends. She was very happy to see them. She did pass out in the middle of the party, which was a little, she does that. She has very low blood pressure, but that can spike to really high. One of the side effects of the Parkinson's medication. Which was a little hairy for her guests. The first time I saw her do that, I was like, oh my God, she just died. But the nurses are now know that she doesn't need to get sent to the hospital, that she will revive in a couple of minutes. So I'm grateful that the party went well. Let's see. Oh, good. We have a gratitude here from Frank. If I can get my great niece's mouse to work, because I don't usually use mice. Here we go. Let's see. You are grateful for your mom. Oh, that's so sweet. And I am grateful for my great niece, Ashley, and my great nephew, David, who I get to stay in their extra room out here in Ontario, Canada. And their cat, Pico. And I'm allergic to cats. You all know that. So I've been taking some I'm grateful for allergy medication because Pico is just adorable. He jumped through my arms this morning. He's a cat that does tricks like a dog, but I'm grateful for all of them, and that is all the gratitudes I have. I say 8 because eight's a lucky number in Chinese. It's a homophone for good fortune, even though Dr. Wayne Dyer, beloved teacher who's on the other side now, he would say, start with 5 gratitudes every morning. I say 8, recovering overachiever. So I want you to do that too. Now we go to the bottom of the button and we're going to model for you what I'd like you to do before you go to bed. Because a lot of us, again, are doing MS, meaningless scrolling before bed and getting all activated or your panties all tied up in a wad because of something that is shown that makes you just go, oh, what is wrong with people? Or getting involved in some kind of political, angry fight over something. And instead, I want you to rest knowing what do you like about yourself? What is good about you? Many of us, and this is related to the topic at hand this morning, don't know our own value, don't know our own worth. And as a result of that, we walk around with little antenna going, who loves me, who likes me, going to look for love in all the wrong places. So instead of that, the alternative is to develop a strong muscle of knowing who you are and what you're great at and the things that you're not so great at or things that you're not proud of. But that way you are very cognizant that you're 88% fabulous. That's my BS, my belief system that we are all really pretty fabulous. 12% of the time we'll step in it, but 88% of the time we really are great. And to know that is the fundamental hallmark, the fundamental foundation to good mental health. And that's why I asked you to do this. All right. Cashew Gallery came in. What are they saying? Orville Nation from New York and Spain. I'm grateful to be able to listen to Dr. Marissa. Oh, thank you, PJ. That was a sweet compliment. All right. I appreciate that I can receive compliments now. It wasn't always true. So that's my appreciation. What do you like about yourself? PJ Orville Nation, I appreciate that you are very supportive. I mean, and I think I feel special because I know he supports me, but I would say Maria knows this. I would say pretty much everybody whose life he touches feels supported. So that's my compliment back at you. I appreciate that I love to teach. I appreciate that I'm also imperfect. Take my advice. I'm not using it is the name of the show. So I don't always, and I can't stand it when people, if I do complain about something, they'll look at me like, don't you teach people to blah, blah, blah. And that's one of my favorite things is to have my own shiitake thrown back at me. Sarcasm is another service I offer, but I'm super, super appreciative that I do have that in my noggin, even if I don't always use it. Maria, let's see. Maria says, I am grateful for people that find happiness in little things. Beautiful. So you appreciate yourself because I know that you do find happiness in little things. And Maria, I'm hoping that Pico my great nephew, he's a orange marmalade-ish cat, is going to come in here while I'm on because I know you have cats and you love them. All right. Orville took the compliment. He's also giving another compliment that I have wise words. And Orville Nation, I'm grateful for my co-host, Maria. Ah, you're grateful for Maria. Beautiful. All right. Let's see. Does any more appreciations from Frank? Nope, I don't see that there. I will wrap it up. I appreciate that. I love trying new things. It's like that first time, like that virgin, attempt at anything is so satisfying. I know it's only Monday. I've already started with the double entendre, but hey, I love my life. I love my life. All right. I am ready now. Let's see. Oh, Frank, you got another one. So you are greatly appreciated, Frank. I hope you feel the love. So let's go to the topic at hand, which is, let's see, what did I write down? It's always, I have photographic memory. I'm just out of disk space, and I haven't had time to go and buy an external memory device. One of the old adages at work used to be keep your business and personal life separate. As a professional, don't let emotions get in the way. What I've learned as an organizational psychologist is that that is an impossible scenario because people are people and they all bring themselves to work, body, mind, and spirit, soul. If they are worried or afraid, insecure, or living a battered state of mind, that will reflect in how they perform, produce, and relate at work. When I do strategic planning and change management work in my Fortune 500 companies, Siri does not do my punctuation very well. One common theme that always comes up is the lack of appreciation that management has for their human resources. So I am today's 88% perfect. So fixing this. So if you're on LinkedIn, don't judge. Today's Mental Health Matter Mondays, I'll be coaching on how to ask for a raise based on an individual interpersonal work that needs to get done beforehand based on the individual. Yeah. The bottom line question is, do you know your value of what you bring to your job? All right. So that is the topic at hand. If you have any comments or questions on that, please do put them in the chat, and time permitting, I will get to them. But I will just start off, how I like to qualify at the beginning of the show on the realness of whatever I'm talking about. And as an organizational psychologist, I can tell you that this is one of the biggest opportunities that companies have in their work to motivate people to really become a state-of-the-art agency or company in whatever they're doing. Is technology is fantastic, and I know there's this big debate now about artificial intelligence and its place in work and how it's taking over people's jobs. The reality is human resources are your greatest resource. We are, absolutely fabulous problem solvers and thinkers, and we're innovators, and AI needs someone to program them. Otherwise, it's, not going to get done. But we as human beings are just deliciously brilliant. And if we can create an organization, if you want to have a company filled with people who are operating in that zone most of the time, that I think is the ticket to having a company that people actually enjoy being in. They want to come to work. They know how they are. They know how valued they are and what value they bring to the organization. So that is my definition of an excellent learning organization. I do work in Peter Senge's learning organization. I work with companies. I'm working with a great agency right now in Chino Hills, the Inland Empire Utilities Agency. I am really grateful that one of my longtime, he kept did the learning organization strategic planning at the Los Angeles County Department of Public Works with Rudy Lee just came to mind. He was another one of my managers that I got work with, and their boss, I think he was deputy director at the time. I forget titles, but Diego was instrumental in bringing me in. And these are the kinds of things that I'm going to talk about today as an effort to kind of put into place or give you a framework on why it is that appreciation is not necessarily one of the um, things that is common in organizations. And it is one of those reasons why a lot of people just say, I live for my weekends, hate my job, like the people that I work with, but can't stand my boss, can't stand the boss's boss. There's so much hypocrisy going on. There's so much favoritism going on. They don't know what they're doing. I can't get my job done. You asked for me to give you, good ideas, and now you just tell me to shut up and do my job. So that's what I usually get brought in to work with. Not at IEUA. Jerry, well, I love going into organizations where there's nothing wrong and they just want to improve, because then I know that they recognize the value in having an outsider come in and give them an objective, as objective as possible. There's not ever such a thing as an objective evaluation, because whoever's doing the analyzing has an opinion. So if anybody says they're being objective, that's bullshit hockey. They're being as objective as they can, because whatever eyes they're looking in through is basically the frame through which they're seeing. But I digress. So I love getting brought in and told, we're doing good, our numbers are good, but I want to make sure that this is an environment where my cultural values of respect, of um, efficiency are, there. Less stress, more joy, more efficient is my tagline for a learning organization. So that's, where I'm getting current data, but I've been doing this for 32 years. So hopefully you'll hear what I'm saying. And if you are a leader, you'd like to have a chat with me, drmarissa.life, happy to schedule you in and see what I can do to help y'all. Because a lot of business owners, they read a lot of books or they go maybe to some conferences, but the whole activity of getting to know, what it is that makes people tick in your organization is such a valuable, wonderful learning activity. So that's what we're doing now. And I know we've had some comments, so let me go down. All right. Let's see. Okay, I can vouch for that Dr. Marissa's pretty organized in her life. Okay, that's right. Organizational psychologist being. All right. So how do you ask for a raise? So the first thing that you do is you write down, you look at your resume. Okay, so if you haven't updated your resume, I actually recommend updating your resume once a month. And the reason why I do that is not because you're going to try to get another job, is your resume is basically a written version of your value. So what is your value? Certainly the hard stuff is, programs that you've gotten good at, or certificates that you have that apply to whatever field you're in, both hard and soft skills. Because what organizations are beginning to understand is this chart that I use, a very simple circle, and I'll have leaders come to me and say, why is it so difficult? It's not rocket science. Why is it so difficult for people just to do the job? It's pretty clear, just do your job. And I hear that even more now because The new generation apparently has other ideas about what their job is. Not all of them, but I hear this constantly. They just don't see respect. They demand respect. They say, I have to earn the respect. I can't believe that they're so entitled and demanding. And I hear that a lot. So I, I want to hit it to make sure I cover the topic that I offered, which how do you figure out what your value is? So knowing what you're good at is so important, and knowing what you're not good at is important. But very few people will sit down and actually look in the course of their career, what is it that they've actually learned? And I would say 98% of the people that don't have an update to date resume are perfectionists, because instead of focusing on what they do know, they're looking at what they still want to learn, need to learn, have to have. So, the same way in which perfectionism is a dis-ease of life personally, it can be a dis-ease of life professionally. Okay. So keep that list of what it is that you do know. All right. And I forgot to finish something. That circle that I said with the bosses that say it's not rocket science, why is this such a big deal? Why can't you get it done? Because any job, the task itself, getting work done, that's the top of the circle. You cannot get that done if you don't have enough of a relationship with the people that you want to complete. And this as stupid and as common sense as that sounds, common sense is not uncommon, is not common, and logical thought is very illogical. So that whole BS belief system that many leaders carry with themselves at work, thinking that people just need to be told what to do and they'll do it, is missing the entire picture, because you have to have enough of a relationship inside the organization in order to get the work done. And it just kills me when I hear, it doesn't kill me, but it just, it amazes me when I hear leaders say, that's too touchy feely. That's too, I don't want people to be talking about what happened on their weekend for 6 hours out of the eight. And it's like, nobody does that. There might be one person that does that. That's the 2%er, and we'll talk about that person in a second. But this is the thing about most leaders are high J, which is on the Myers Briggs that I use to illustrate that, and see if this happens where you're working with a boss and they want to know, is it good, bad, right, wrong, what category does it go into? Most of our organizations are driven by people with a high J. They're closers, they want to know the answer, and very few things in business and in life are that clear cut. And so you already have this issue with leaders who say just get the job done, not integrating in the soft side. It's not soft, it's not touchy feely. It is half of your equation on how to get work done. All right. Now, if you've just tuned in and you're wondering, what am I going on about today? This doesn't sound like Mental Health Matters Monday. It is actually Mental Health Matters, because mental health matters at work too. And if you are not being fulfilled in a place that you spend the majority of your time with, 5 out of 7 days, that's the majority. If you're just living for your weekends or living for your evenings when you're so exhausted, anyways, because you're bringing your work home, then this episode is for you. And this is Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KZAA, home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube channel, the home base, the TV channel of Dr. Marissa Housing. 1,031 shows, 569 consecutive weeks. Thank you for being here. And the topic today is, how do I know what value I bring to the workplace? Or how do I ask for a raise? Let's see what the cashew gallery is saying here. My co-host in the cashew gallery is Orville Nation PJ. Let's see. Oh, he's giving me a commendation here. Working with Dr. Marissa is great. Having her work with your employees is wonderful experience. This is also my PR and marketing director. Here's a question. Some employees are wary about hiring trainers like you and I, Marissa, because they think we make employees unsatisfied with their position or jobs. You want to speak to that? Absolutely. Would you rather know that your employees are dissatisfied and then work on solutions to fix them? Or would you rather just think that everything is fine and have what they're calling now quiet quitting? I call it dead people working. So the choice is yours. You don't have to know, but as I mentioned before, this doesn't have to be that there's something really wrong. Continuous improvement is one of the most effective competitive advantage strategies a business has. Because if you are on the right track, but you don't, keep going, you're going to get run over. So the choice is yours. And so, PJ, if they're afraid to hire, then they're going to suffer the consequences of not looking. So I would rather know, but that's me because I'm all about continuous improvement. Also, if you're a boss that cannot handle being wrong, that cannot handle not being liked, and we're talking about humanity at work, a lot of the most insecure people that I know are in the top levels of the organization. They've gotten there, by either being bullies or hiding their insecurity. And in the old days, I'm not saying that all C suite level leaders are in this category at all. There's great um, places to work, and I don't know if I want to necessarily name some, because if I name the good ones, I also have to name the ones that are not so good. So maybe we'll do that in a private conversation. But I'll say that all the clients that I've worked with are fabulous. And again, it varies amongst leaders and which division they're on, certainly. But I judge an organization by their willingness to continuously improve. So if you are not open to knowing how to improve, like you're talking about, then you're not a learning organization. And you might be here for a little time, maybe even, a little more time, but a long time, maybe not. All right. Let's see. Did I answer that question? Okay. Good answer. All right. Good. And not addressing workplace issues also leads to negative vibratory trends, which are real and may have cumulative negative effects. Yeah. So I'm going to give you this model that has helped a lot of my clients. And because whenever we do a strategic planning assessment where I actually go in and just see what's working and what's not working, almost always I have what I call the out of focus. So if you see an organization as 100%, okay, and that there's 20 on the top and 20 on the bottom and 60 in the middle, most organizations have your top 20 group. There's your go-to people. You really, you don't have to explain a lot to them. You're really, it's a high vibe, right? And then you have your bottom 20, and the bottom 20 are people who just are how was your weekend? How was that project? Well, and the ones who you tend to have to, try to light a fire under them, and there's a lot of, now you got to write them up, or there's a lot of focus and attention on trying to bring that bottom 20% back in the fold. And in that 20% of the people, I call them the 2%ers, that even if you gave them more money and more time off, they still wouldn't be happy. In the mafia, they'd be dead. But in organizations, it's often the two percenter that you're making decisions to try to make that person happy. And the weird thing about two percenters is if you actually manage to X them out of the organization, someone from that bottom 20 somehow will fill that position. So it's a weird organizational um, norm in that every organization seems to need to have that one person that can drive you to the moon in a California minute. Now, is that right? This is not a right or wrong thing. It's just human dynamics at work. For whatever reason, that's just the way it is. Now, do you let that two percenter or the bottom 20 affect your entire culture in your organization? And that's when I say, no, you can do something about that. And the first thing you do is you quit focusing 80% of your time on that bottom 20. Because what happens in most organizations when they do that is the 60 that are in the middle are looking at where the attention goes. And if the attention is going to the bottom 20, guess what? Oh, well, that gets the attention. I might as well do the things that they're doing. And you'll have that slide, that the 60 slide into the 20. And now you've got a majority of your organization that is not happy, not working, not efficient, not productive, not performing, acting out. Worst case, I'd rather have acting out than the what did they say, quiet quitters, or what I call dead people walking, because apathy to me in an organization is the worst diagnosis that I can give you, because then people don't care. And getting a person to get out of not caring is more difficult than getting someone who cares enough to be a brat or a bull. That is, at least you have some energy that I can, try to refocus. So for me, that's the first free consulting tip that I'll give to you is how much time right now are your supervisors, managers, and yourself focusing on that bottom 20? Now, if you have never had any kind of performance and career discussions with your employees, if your supervisors have not, then you're missing out, and you have fed into and enabled your organization to get where they are. And when I get called in to work with problem children in the organization, those who are they're great technical performers, but with other they don't play well, they don't communicate well, they are unmotivators or non-motivators. They're technically brilliant and emotionally handicapped or disabled is the word now. So technically brilliant, emotionally disabled, those that can describe a lot of leaders in organizations that have not had that discussion that needs to happen. And that tool I call the 3-column talk. And this relates to answering your question, or the question that came up of how do I ask for a raise? If you're a person who has never had this kind of discussion, then I would ask you to ask them to go for lunch. Treat whoever's doing your performance evaluation. You can blame it on me. I learned this on Dr. Marissa's show, that this is an important conversation to have. Thank you for that heart. To have with you, who does fill out my performance evaluation, which does affect, how much money or any promotion or anything like that. I really want to know what I'm doing that you approve of, and what can I do to not have you roll your eyeballs behind my back, because I have no clue that that's something that you value. So the 3-column talk is middle column is what are your natural roles and responsibilities. This is what is posted on Monster or .com or all of the job sites. This is what it is that you are capable of doing at baseline. And then the left hand side is the unhappy face, which is what do I do or not do to get myself fired or set aside in a place that, if you're in an organization that doesn't have the guts to tell you the truth, they usually move you into an area where you can do less harm. Not the greatest strategy, but a lot of companies do it. So, what am I doing that is not acceptable, that you're either telling me or not telling me? And if you're a person who has been given constructive feedback and you say that's your opinion and that's, I'm doing fine, then you're the problem. So this is one of those, it's a match. You have to come to the middle and say, okay, what is it that is good that I'm doing and what is it that I'm not good at doing? And unless you are willing to actually work on those, you don't deserve a raise. You don't have anything to stand on as far as wanting something to be different. So that's a little bit of tough love. I meet a lot of clients who say, I deserve, I do this, and this, and I do that, and that, and I'm technically, I got this. And then I'll say, have you ever been given any feedback about your ability to be a good team player? Yeah, but that's because they were, that's, and it's like, no, that was feedback for you, especially if it happened 3 times. If 3 different people tell you the same thing, that's on you, boo. That's not on them. So if you want to raise, you really have to have enough history of taking feedback and implementing it into a change to get that raise. Technical expertise is important, but not. And yeah, you may say, but it's not fair. My boss is a dickwad. I don't know if I can say that. Sorry. I should have warned you there, Frank. My boss, and let me qualify for a second. I do have a lot of compassion for middle managers who grew up in the era of Theory X, which created a lot of monster bully, um, Richard Wad leaders. And the only way that you could swallow or take their abuse was to know that one day I'm going to be in that position where I can dish it out. I take it now, I can dish it out later. This is still happening, not as badly, but it is still happening where that was the culture in the organization of the past, and it still is there. And so now I come in and tell you, no, you cannot be a Richard Wad. You actually have to be high emotional intelligence, high interpersonal effectiveness, in addition to your technical expertise. And I know it's not fair because your boss may not have had to, but that is hopefully the state of affairs in organizations now, as we realize that again, in order to get the job done, you have to have good interpersonal skills to have good relationships. Does that make sense? All right, take a breath and see what the cashew gallery is. Here, Orville Nation, redirecting the energy of some difficult employees is totally possible when you have a great instructor. My marketing director. Less harm. Some even fall upwards on certain jobs. Okay. And by the way, cool earrings. Thank you very much. And let's see. Yeah, bully managers culture truly amazes me how many are still out there for sure. And again, if you have that 3 column discussion, and I didn't finish with the 3rd column, so you know what your job responsibilities are just to get the benefits and the money that you're currently getting. If you feel like you're doing that and getting paid for it and complaining that you deserve more and you haven't had the 3rd column discussion, then you don't deserve more because that's what you are getting paid for. The entitlement culture that is real as well, not just with the new people coming in, the younger generation, the level of entitlement that many employees seem to have in organizations is because somehow people have a BS belief system that if I do perform my job booties, duties, I should be paid above and beyond. And that is not necessarily true, because if you're doing your job, that is baseline. Now, if you have the third column discussion, which is review, column one, job responsibilities, column two, what you do or not do to get yourself a bad rating. Okay. If you say, I'm sorry, but I have to drop off my kids every morning and I can't get to work until 10. And that's just the way it is. And, you have to accommodate me, right? Or you're being discriminatory. So my thing is, okay, the managers that say, oh, okay, I don't want to get sued, so I'm going to accommodate this and I'm going to accommodate that. But you're not keeping in mind the number one thing, which is your job requiring that person, the way it is structured now, to have a person available for at 9 o'clock, not 10 o'clock. So again, it's balance. It's not one way everything goes to the individual's needs and desires and wants. And then it's not the other way either, which is I don't care what your needs are. This is the way it is. There's a middle ground. Is it possible to have a job restructure? Is it possible that that person that there's a new job spec that is not just for one person, but for more than one person to be able to uh, value their contribution as well as meet customer service, what you're being evaluated on. Okay, so that's a whole nother discussion. But drmarissa.life, if you want more of this stuff, we can certainly talk offline. Now, the third column, which is the most important column, because if you want someone to really be fulfilled at work and be efficient and offer the best that they have in their innovative mind as an excellent human resource, you got to know what your employees' desires are. And I am not saying that every single employee wants to get your job. A well-balanced organization is finding individuals who really don't want to make their career their life work and are happy doing what they're doing, becoming really good at what they're doing, right? Don't want to supervisor to people because they don't have that kind of personality, that it's natural and it's too much work for them. Finding where a person really wants to be and not making a judgment about that is the key in having those third column um, discussions. So that's one. What does that person at this time, they can change their mind, but at this time, if they do want your job, if they do want to move around and move up in the organization, this is your opportunity to say, the good news and bad news is I'm the one filling out your eval. And it is not in the middle column that says keep your desk organized. But know that as your manager, I am a little OCD about neatness. And in my mind, I hold the BS, the belief system that when you're tidy, you're better thinkers. And that's not fair to you because you may not think that, but know that if you want the kind of mentoring and career opportunity and strategic alliance with me, these are some of the weird things that I'm using to see how well you're doing. And that way the person says, okay, I know it's not my belief, but I get to work under you for good, bad, and beautiful, right? So knowing how you're being evaluated is more important than knowing what it is that you're being evaluated for is more important than if it is right or wrong or fair or not. You can take it up if it's really unfair, like if they're expecting you to wear pink every day, or I mean, come on. I'm trying to talk balance here, but if there are things that you are being evaluated on, don't you want to know? So instead of coming into a meeting and saying, I do this, 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 and this, and that's why I need a raise. I've been doing this for 10 years. I need a raise. You want to build a case? You build a case by first having one of these discussions, bringing in the three columns. It's my understanding that this is what the job spec is. It's my understanding that when I do these things, it's not okay. And when I do these things, this is when I get uh, um, onto the honey track, onto the honey trail of then I have your support if I want to move to this next position. That is how you get a raise. You don't get it. You also get it by doing the homework. The homework is you go out and look for what the benchmark salary and benefits are. You're so lucky, y'all, now you got the internet. I'm ageless, but back in the day, we had encyclopedias. We don't have the level of data that we do now. You can look for a range, you can see what's happening. And instead of staying at a place where you're so unhappy and always asking for something that you're not getting, there's so much opportunity out there. Maybe it's time to look for something new. Maybe it's time to look for employers of choice who do spend time creating an environment where you do feel respected. Not no one's perfect 88% of the time. Just saying. Just saying. If you've just tuned in, you are listening to KCAA NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube TV channel, where you free subscribe. You'll get an alert every morning for Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. On KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. I think this is my 5 minute warning. That was probably 3 minutes ago. Yes, 4 minute warning. Let me go back to my cashew gallery. And let's see. We've got Bully Management. We did that one. Great stream. Thank you so much for the compliments, Orville Nation. I'm glad that you were here because you do similar work as I do, coaching organizations to be more efficient, to be more respectful, and to have more fun at work. Because life is way too short to hate your job. Life is way too short not to uh, continually grow and expand both individually and as someone at work. All right. Ah, okay. Asian Oprah giveaway. I'm going to give two. Oh, I'm going to first warn you that I'll be giving 2 tickets away. And this is such a phenomenal event. I am one of the sponsors now for, I think, my 7th year of the Newport Beach Film Festival. Greg Schwenk, the executive director and CEO, does an amazing job. This film festival not only has great films, it celebrates diversity. So there's Irish spotlight. My friends over there at the Newport Beach, the Irish contingent, the Korean contingent, the Chinese contingent, I mean, you name it, it's the most diverse film festival lifestyle. And I'm giving away 2 passes to the Pacific Showcase that always has lion dancers and great food. They have free alcohol, even though I'm naturally high, not drinking. But those 2 tickets are hundreds of dollars. I'm going to be giving them away. I think I'll give them away on Friday on a launch show this time. So make sure you tune in on Friday for Tempting Conversations with Dr. Marissa and the daughter of the founder of the Temptations, Alon Carter. And 2 minutes. The Saban Theater. One more pair of tickets I'm going to give to the 98 Degree Show, which is on Friday when I get back from Canada. It's at 8 p.m., I believe. I hope I don't have time to bring up Saban, where music meets the soul. Dana's been wonderful in being a supporter, and I get to give away a pair of tickets there. So go to drmarissa.life. Tell me that you free subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you will get a free complimentary pair of tickets worth usually $100. So, okay, that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining me on Mental Health Matters Monday. And tomorrow you'll get Step Up into Your Best Life with Dr. Marissa and Beth Linder Moss. And then Wednesday, Doctors in the House as I'm traveling pre-recorded